This is Abnormal Entertainment.
2, 3, 4. Walked into the tunnel just to find the light. Hunted for old demons, looking for a fight. Looked up at the stars, seemed to go forever. There must be a way, it all fits together. Fell into the quicksand, held on to the vines. Never could quite color, stay within the lines. Feels like I have wings, I can fly wherever. This is just a way, it all fits together. Finally saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Gonna share my journey to small and large masses. Give up on my life, no sir, me never. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza, and welcome to another episode of Put It Together. I'd like to start as usual thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for his help and support. Thank you, sir. And go check us out at abnormalentertainment.com, where you can find all the shows on the network. This week I'm excited. I'm excited every week. I like all my guests. Pritesh, Shah.
Pretty close, man.
Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Pretty good? Yeah.
Pretty good.
I practiced on the way.
I know, I can tell. Yeah. I can tell. You trying to get that accent down.
I was trying to show off, and I was like,
yeah.
Can I pull this off?
What people need to know is it means God of love. That's what Pritesh
really?
is. Yes, it does. What? So, of course, I want people to say my name.
That's almost a show in itself.
It is.
Welcome to the
God of love. Yeah.
What's really cool was I was at SAG on Tuesday for some workshops. Yeah. And there's a little store downstairs.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and the lady looked at me. She goes, "What part of India are you from?" And I'm like,
you can definitely pass as Indian, actually.
I'm not. I'm from Mexico. She's like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm from Mexico. She's like, "You look like one of my cousins." And I'm like,
No, you definitely could pass as Indian, for sure.
I'm going to have to go back and look at my ancestry.
I knew you weren't because of your name when I first met you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Daniel Garza. Okay, he's not. But if I didn't know your name, I'd be like, are you Indian, bro?
Yeah, probably. I'm going to go back and look at my ancestry.
Yeah.
DNA thing.
Yeah.
There's probably
like 20%.
Yeah, because I know there's a 4% Irish.
What?
I'm 4%. I don't know where.
Where the hell did that white go, bro? Where the hell did that white go?
Why did I not get the blue eyes?
I know, right? Yeah.
Although it would have been weird to be brown with red hair. That would have been
not a good look. Not a good look. Not a good
look.
How
are you doing?
I'm good, man.
Thank you for letting us come into your house.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
For those of you familiar with Pritesh, I met you at a comedy
show, yeah.
Over at Betsiva.
Yeah.
Here in Culver
I didn't know
City.
that's how you say it, but yeah.
That's my pronunciation.
Yeah.
Again.
Betsiva. Don't mess it up. Yeah, you don't mess it. Yeah, I don't want to mess around.
Yeah, because then Cameron will listen to this.
Exactly. Cameron will kill me. Yeah.
For those of you that follow the show, you know Cameron Weir. He's been on the show. He hosted that comedy show.
Yeah, that's a show.
Which is where I met you.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna admit, and I mentioned this today when I got here, because you just got some new headshots.
Yeah.
On your site. So for those of you who have followed Pritesh, go check out his new headshots. And I told you, like, you look really nice, and some of them, like, you're so friendly. Like, I want you to be my doctor.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I'm like, you're such a douche.
Yeah.
I can't stand you.
It's like all the girls that I date. That's what they think. It's unbelievable.
Is that
Yeah.
what you do?
No, yeah.
You bring them in with
yeah,
Dr.
Dr. Luck, and I'm like, I'm actually just a douche. Yeah. Make me food. Thank you.
The day I'm at the show, you came in almost when I was rounding up the...
Yeah, I came a little late. I was coming from a premiere, so I had told Cameron, I'm like, it's going to be late, bro. Yeah. Right before the show starts.
And I was kind of waving at you, and I forget the other lady's name. She has 3 names.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I was kind of waving at like, I'm running out of time, Cam. But you were like, you were so into your conversation, I was like, he's such a dick. Like, and when I went and sat down, my boyfriend Christian asked me, like, did you get everything? I'm like, no, I missed 2 of the comedians. They were talking. I'm like, but he's probably a dick anyway, so I don't want to talk to him. And then you came on stage and you were hilarious.
Thanks, man.
You were hilarious. And I think one of the things that we mentioned, because we had a friend of ours visiting who took this show, who's also Latina, we were talking about how similar cultures are.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was so much that we just like, that's my mom. Like, change the name, change the accent, and that's my mom. Like,
exactly, it is.
Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is, I feel like we live in a society right now where we don't even talk about the differences because everyone wants to be the same. Because you talk about differences and either it's a victim mentality, and it's like, well, I'm telling this story not to play the victim at all. I'm telling the story because it's more empowering, in my opinion. And I think a lot of the people, I mean, being Latino, you know, the Latin culture is very similar to Indian culture. I mean, immigrant cultures in general there's a lot of similarities, right? I mean, anytime you're coming from a country where everyone acts and looks and behaves in one way, and you come to this melting pot, there's always going to be this clash that to me is comedic, right? And that's what I'm bringing to the stage is my parents are bringing their old school mentality similar to your parents did, and you come into this environment where everyone's doing their own thing.
I think, and with that, first generation kids, we all have the same experiences.
Yeah.
Again, it may be a different food on your plate, but we have the same mentality. Like, I used to argue with my mom, I was like, why do we have meatloaf? She's like, ¿qué es eso? What are you talking about? What do you meatloaf?
Because it's stupid. That's why. That's why we're not meatloaf, because there's no flavor. I don't know. Well, I think it's also because it's really understanding, making people understand. I don't blame my parents, right? They came here in survival mode.
Yeah.
If someone told me right now, told you, hey, you need to move to Japan. You don't know the culture, you don't know the language, but that's where you're going to have a good life. So you're going to get married, you're going to move there. I'm not going to move to Japan and pursue acting. I'm trying to get a job and live, bro. To be grown up here and have the opportunities that I have, I'm not in survival mode. I mean, I was raised with kind of like a platinum spoon in my mouth. If you really want me to be honest. So I get their mentality. I respect it because they didn't have the luxury that I have.
Right? I got to the point somewhere in my teen years where I totally respected what my parents did, why my mom decided, because my dad's American and my mom's Mexican. I figured out why they brought us out here.
Yeah.
And then I realized the combination that I had, like 2 languages. Like, still people ask me, like, what's your first language? I'm like, English and Spanish. And they're like, no, but which one came first? I'm like, English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, it's not uncommon to see a little Latino kid that's 5 years old at the store translating for their parents.
Yeah.
You just do it. You just learn how to do it. So when people ask me, well, which one did you speak well first? English and Spanish. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I did the same for my grandmas, right? My grandmas, when they live here, or one of them is in India, but when she came here, she doesn't know anything of English. Not even a word, right? And so, you're born with translating for family members. I was used to that too as a kid, right? It's one of those things where I think that's where part of my comedy stems from, because I try to keep it very honest and real. And I actually am keeping it very honest and real. And that's why I even say, like, my parents are racist. I think it's funny. It's like not something to really like, because the truth is we all have biases, right? This whole idea when people are walking around, like, first of all, racism it's a symptom. It's not an issue, right? It's like giving someone a cough drop because they have lung cancer. Like, stupid. And we live in a society where we're like, don't be racist. Okay, that stops someone. When's the last time you were told not to do something? Just because you don't vocalize it doesn't mean you don't feel it. Doesn't mean you're acting on it. So to me, it's a stupid conversation to have, right? And so when I grew up, my mom did say, you can't date a BMW. No black, no Mexican, no white. And its idea is like, she doesn't hate those people. She just wanted me to stick with an Indian person because it made her feel comfortable. Right? Because the idea is when you go to different places, it's not so much that someone is black or Mexican or white or whatever the hell they are. It's so much that there's something that's the unknown, and that causes fear. Yeah. Right? So for her, it's coming from a place of fear. I don't understand this. I don't know this. Therefore, I just want you to stick to something that makes me comfortable. Yeah. Now, of course, that's naive and not exactly the highest frequency to operate in, but that was her truth at the time. Yeah. Right? And of course, now they've progressed past it, and I'm dating someone who's white and they love her, and it's all good. But that was their mindset when they were young, because that's what they were told.
When my parents found out I was gay, which was about 17.
Oh, you're gay? No clue. No idea.
Just for television.
Just for television. Oh, gotcha.
And for rent.
Yeah, I'm sure. It works out well.
Gotta make money somehow.
I'll help you in Hollywood, trust me.
But when I started dating, I was about 18, 19, and now mind you, my dad was born in Texas but raised in Mexico, so
Gotcha.
my dad was like, don't date whites because you can't trust them. Don't date black people because they're dangerous.
Okay.
So if you only date
And he was right.
Yeah, and Mexicans are going to keep you down, so just be careful with that.
True.
And I was like, well, what does that leave? Every other nationality, which I actually did. This is in Dallas. I dated a Native American guy, which he loved because he drank beer like my dad.
Nice.
And an Indian guy because he helped my mom with a lot of cooking, and she
No
loved
shit.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
the spices are very similar.
And he had a great credit score.
Yes.
Let's not get twisted.
I was
Yeah.
like, cha-ching,
Yes,
we're gonna
cha-ching.
get a house.
Cosigner. What?
We're gonna get a house.
What?
And then we broke up, and I was like, well, there goes.
And there goes that. Yeah.
He was gonna be a doctor, and I would.
Of course. There you go. Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to you. This is about your story. So, Pritesh, tell us how you put it together.
I don't know if I put it together, but I'm working on it. Well, I'll give you a little spiel on it. So I was actually a honeymoon baby. So my parents were married. I was a honeymoon child. That's why I was special. And my mom came back to America. My mom was an American citizen before she went to India. So my dad actually only came to America because he married my mom. And when I was born, I was kind of a mistake. I was a mistake. I was unplanned. My dad hadn't even come to America. He had $50 to his name. So he wasn't very happy about the pregnancy at the time. And by the time he got here and I was born, my dad's like, I haven't even started my life here. How are we going to support a child? So in traditional Indian way, they sent me to India. Even though my mom's family was in America, it's like the father's family should be the one taking care of the child. Oh. So I was sent all the way to India, and my grandparents raised me in India for 3.5 years. I didn't see my parents, which was an interesting thing. That was the deepest impact on my life, bar none, and something it's taken me probably 25 years to heal from, because the time in my life where you bond with your parents, especially your mother, are very pivotal in those first few years, of course. And that caused me throughout my life a lot of abandonment issues, big time, especially when women were involved.
Because you knew that your grandparents were not your parents.
Of course. And you don't understand those emotions when you're a child. But as I got older, I started recognizing, especially even in the last few years, I've been dealing with it heavy and really coming to terms with it, how that experience in my life has dictated my dating relationships.
Yeah.
And so going back to that, I come back to America, and then my mom, when I came back, I was about 4 years old, and my mom was pregnant with my sister. So it's like I never felt like I was special. I never felt like I got attention, because here I am sent to India. I come back, now my mom's pregnant with my sister. So it was never about me. That's how I felt.
You didn't have your baby time.
I didn't have my me time.
Yeah.
So it was basically the best comedy school you could ever go to for me, because I knew that I wanted attention. Well, I realized at a young age the way I got attention was by being funny. It was a gift I had. So anytime I was in a social place, I knew I had the gift to be center of attention. So to me, the world was a stage. The world was a whole stage. By the time I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, I was funny at school. I was funny in our group environments, family environments. I knew I could always be center of attention. I could do accents. I could mimic people. I'd just tell funny stories. And that was the way I got me time. I got attention. So I was like, my parents aren't going to give me the attention I deserve. I'm definitely going to get it from everybody else. And that continued throughout my life. I got great at comedy. That part was awesome. But the crappy part was it became my defense mechanism, right? So people never got to know me, who I was. I never allowed myself to be vulnerable. It was very scary. I didn't come to terms with why I was even doing what I was doing. But I knew I could be the life of the party. So high school, college, especially in college, I was a club promoter, center of attention. I knew everybody. Everyone knew me, but no one actually knew me. You know what I mean? No one actually, they just knew what I was putting out, of course, which was the funny guy. And that was my story then. So I went to school for accounting, a minor in English, and I was going to go to law school. And my mom invites me home, and she goes, hey, we have a guru in town. You have to go see him. I was like, whatever. So I come home, there's this big guru from India, and he does astrology. And I'm about to graduate college. I have a 3.8 GPA. I'm vice president of accounting society. I have jobs lined up. Like, I'm killing it, right? And he basically goes through my astrology chart and looks at me confused. He goes, you're doing accounting? He looks at my chart. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And he goes, there's no way that you will use your degree for your career. Just not a chance. Now keep in mind, I didn't believe in any of that stuff. So I was kind of like, had an F you attitude. I was pissed off. I'm like, who the hell is this guy to tell me? Like, to me, to my young, naive years, I was probably 22, 23. He basically said, I'm going to be homeless. That's how I took it.
Right.
There was no other option. I'd never looked at acting or anything. So to me, he just said, you're going to be homeless. So I was very offended at the time, right? And so I basically told my mom, don't you ever have me see this guy again, right? I was pissed. And, well, I'm growing up in the environment I grew up in, even though it's funny and my mom always knew something was special about me. You're never told this is a viable thing.
But no drama club?
Nothing. And when I was 16, I took some classes. And I was doing traveling theater for Planned Parenthood.
Huh.
Like I was basically going to high schools and telling people, I know you're going to have sex, but use a condom. And they're funny skits and things. But it was like a side hobby thing. No one once told me it could be something I could actually pursue as a life. And you grow up in the Indian immigrant family, you're doing safety stuff, right? You're a business or doctor or lawyer, some shit, right?
Right.
So to me, it was never even an option. Like when I watched TV, to me, it looked like, oh, you have to be the chosen one. I don't know what that meant, but you have to be special or you can't just pursue that. You have to be someone's child. You have to know somebody. Like you have to have an in. Like that's not something you can actually do. That's not viable. And my world mirrored that assumption, right? So I was like, okay, that's not even, it wasn't even a thought, man. So when I told that, it wasn't even a thought. But what it was the universe giving me the little blip. And in hindsight, I realized I had a bunch of angels kind of guiding me. You know, you have voices in you.
Right.
And so after I met the guy, I graduated like 6 months later and had a job lined up to work for this company in downtown San Diego doing like a 5-year finance rotation program. But I had 6 months off before the job started. Now I can't sit at home and do nothing. So my mom in the Indian newspaper called India West, she found this guy teaching commercial acting class in Orange County. And keep in mind I was living in San Diego. So Orange County once a week, and she's like, you should take this class. My mom's always been a big believer in me. She always felt like in her heart, mom's not her kid, right? She's like, there's something different about my child, and he has talent. So she always encouraged it. So I took this class. Now, when you have a job, it's kind of beautiful because you have nothing to lose. I didn't care.
Right.
I was just doing this for fun, man. So I was taking this commercial acting class, and this guy was just like, you're good. I have an agent. Why don't you go audition for them? So I auditioned for this agent. They booked me on the spot. They signed me on the spot, not booked me on. They signed me as a client. And I was doing print, model, commercial stuff from the get-go. I was booking like every print job I went out for. And it felt good. Like it felt right. I felt happy. Like I'm like, this is what I'm meant to be. Like I like this. And keep in mind, 1 or 2 months into that, I'm just working, having fun, driving up to LA, getting my feet wet, seeing what this business is like. I had my physical for the job I'm supposed to start. So I go to the physical, another moment. My doctor looks at me, he gives me a look, he goes, you're not excited about your job, are you? I go, what? Because yeah, he's like, most people are pretty excited for the first job. You don't seem excited. Is this what you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just a job. I never thought about it that way, but it was another hint. Like made me think. I was like, maybe it's not what I want to do. I don't know. So I'm going back and sooner or later, June comes around when I'm supposed to start. My 6 months have passed and I'm just working and it's the Friday before I'm supposed to start my job on Monday. I'll never forget this, right? June 2009. And Friday, I'm like sitting at home crying. I'm like, I have no idea, but something in my heart says, you can't go to this job. You just can't do this. In my heart, it said that I can't do this job. And I am, I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. I tell my mom's like, look, I didn't bust my ass, move to America to give my children some more opportunities than I have. And we live 2 hours away from the the entertainment capital of the world. And I'm going to tell you no. So she's like, go for it. I support you. Wow. Now I knew my dad would be livid, bro. Livid, right? My dad gave me a great education, gave us a great life, and just put me through college. And I knew he would be very upset. So I was freaking the hell out. So I call that guru. He's in India, right? Now I'm like, look, I call him, I talk to him. He's in India. I say, look, you told me this. when you saw me, you told me this. This is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about quitting my job and giving up everything I thought I was going to do to pursue this. Are you validating this for me? Because I need to hear it from your freaking mouth right now, because this is a huge decision in my life, man. You better tell me right now that it's something I should go do. And he's like, yes, go do it.
How old are you at this point?
22,
Really?
23.
So you're young.
Yeah, I just graduated college, like 23, I think I took. And he goes, do it. I go, okay. Call my dad. He doesn't say a word. He's pissed. He goes, okay. And that was it. I knew it was bad.
When they say less, you know it's worse.
Yeah, especially with him. So then I call the HR at the job. Now I already have my signing bonus, right? Like, it was ready to roll. I'm supposed to start work on Monday. This is the Friday before. I call HR. No one picks up. I leave a voicemail. I say, hey, this is Pritesh. I know I'm supposed to come in on Monday to start my first day of work, but I'm not going to be able to because I figured out what I want to do with the rest of my life. That's it. Now my heart's palpitating, man. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack, right? Freaking out. I get a call back. I am sweating profusely, anxious, scared, crying. And this lady gets on the phone, the HR, and I'll never forget, just one more angel in my life. She goes, you know what, honey? I wish I made that decision when I was your age. Go get it. And I was like, sweet. Never looked back, man. And I quit, didn't go to work, moved to LA about 6 months later, end of 2009. And the rest is history. It's the best decision I ever made.
It's all these spiritual green lights.
Yeah, it was one of those moments. It was so overwhelming. Like, even when I think about it now, I think about that version of me 10 years ago, and I don't know how that version of me had that much strength. Because that scares me now. There's a lot of pressure. That's huge, life-altering decision. It's like, if you talk about forks in the road, 2009 June was the biggest fork of my life till now. By far.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have gone down this, you could have gone down that, and that version of me had a lot of courage.
And I don't think younger people now, or ever, I think when you're young, you don't realize how important that moment's going to be and how few and far between those moments will actually come.
Yeah.
Because
it's pivotal.
Yeah, you get 100%. It's like a video game. You get all this energy to soar to another life or another level.
Yeah.
But you don't get that again.
It was literally a moment of God. And whatever that means to people, I'm not here to define it. For me, it's just energy. And I can't explain to people what I felt because there's no words in the language to explain it. But I don't understand it at all. None of it makes sense. The variables around me, to hear people that usually would say no, doctors, HR, people in your life, guru in India, like all these people saying the same thing to me. It's like the universe is like putting, all these things around me to push me to my truth, right? And even what I was feeling inside, because I always played it safe. I was raised to play it safe. You go to college, you get an education, you get a good job, you get married. That's how I was raised. And, my parents do really well. So to them, it's like you're carrying on the family name, right? And here I am, I quit everything and I'm pursuing acting. I mean, I know that part of my dad was embarrassed, right? For sure. And, it was an interesting journey in the beginning. It was not easy by any means, but easy and hard's of the mind. To me, if I look back, you can say it's not easy, but I didn't care because I was doing what I was meant to do. Here I am with this kid who grew up really nice in like the suburbs of San Diego, thug life. And now, and now I'm living in La Brea and Redondo, which is like pretty ghetto. At night, people selling crack on the street. You know what I mean? But I didn't care, man. I didn't care. I had the biggest smile on my face because to me, that was a pivotal moment of my spiritual awakening. It was complete trust and faith in like what I felt with my what my emotions were saying to me. Right? It's like, this feels good. I feel aligned. So I'll live in my car. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care that I have no money. I don't care. This feels good. And I'm on my path. That's all that mattered to me.
There's a moment where your heart and your passion are just perfectly, you said the word aligned.
Yeah.
Because early on, I moving to LA, I've been here 10 years now in California. I live in Laguna Beach. I was working in Malibu and I had gotten this 1 week gig. I didn't know many people in LA. I was driving from Malibu to Laguna, or from Laguna to Malibu at 2 o'clock in the morning to be there by 5. and then sleeping in my car for a little while before everybody got there.
Yeah.
And then we would cut late at night, drive all the way back to Laguna. And you talk about like people, like the spiritual green lights, the caterers or craft, the cater people. The main guy was from Monterrey, which is where I'm from, Monterrey, Mexico. So from the moment we talked to each other, he recognized the accent. He's like, ¿De dónde eres? You know, where are you from? Like, Monterrey. He's like, paisano. And I was like, hey. So every night he would hook me up with cooked steak and fish and chicken to take home for dinner. And he's like, so that way you have something to eat when you get home. Because I wouldn't get home till like midnight. And then sleep for a couple hours, turn around and get back in the car and come back.
Unbelievable.
But he set me up, and I don't remember his name. I don't remember the catering company.
But you remember the moment.
I remember him. Like,
that's all that matters.
The first day I got there, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, you're not here for another 2 hours. I'm like, well, I had to leave early so I could get here on time. And he was like, let me feed you now, and then when everybody gets here, you can eat again if you want. I'm like, shit, man.
But see, that was like being in alignment. I always tell people, I think it's a big fraud that we tell people you have to work hard. Because the way we sell it is sacrifice, not being content, not being happy, and working for others. That's how we sell it. We romanticize working hard. What I tell people is when you're in alignment, it comes to you because you're aligned in your path. And there's a difference. I'm not saying sit at home, be a couch potato. That's not being aligned at all, actually. When you're in alignment, you'll do the work that's necessary. It will naturally come to you. But magic, synchronicity will really feed you. Yeah. And you're not going to feel like you're clawing and scratching for little return. Yeah. It's going to feel great. Yeah. And that's when I got in touch with that. I mean, when people say where are moments of synchronicity, I go every single day. Every day something magical happens.
Yeah, if you're just open to it.
If you're open to it, because the point is giving up control. We have so much control, and it's all our ego telling us how things are supposed to be done. We know such limited amounts. Your mind is amazing, but it's also incredibly limiting. So this idea that, like, I know what I have to do. What if you don't? Yeah. What if there's a better way? You know, like, people think, like, oh, I need to book a commercial. I can speak as an actor, right? I need to audition. I need to book a commercial, and then I'm going to make so-and-so. Do you know how many auditions I've gone down, callbacks, been on hold, avail, or whatever? The commercial that I made the most money on, I didn't even audition for. I'll tell you this, my agent goes, hey, honey, calls me. Like, I had 4 missed calls because I was at the gym on a Friday at 5 p.m. And she goes, hey, honey, congrats, you booked Microsoft. I'm like, you called the wrong guy. I never auditioned for Microsoft. She goes, I know, I pitched you. They needed someone last second. They like your smile. It's a Super Bowl commercial. You're filming tomorrow. Filmed it the next day. I was on set for 2 hours. You can't. When I saw my commercial, I thought they cut me out. You couldn't even see me. It was my smile behind the Microsoft symbol, and that thing helped buy a condo.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for it, but what I'm trying to tell you is if that's not a sign of magic, you know, I have this necklace on right here, and that was because I was a part of this film for Make a Film Foundation, which is like Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Nice.
And my buddy, my mentor, Chad L. Coleman, he was on The Wire, and he played Tyrese on The Walking Dead. He hits me up. He's like, yo, P, doing this short film, Make a Film Foundation. And I told him your name, and I was like, I said no. I said no. I said, dude, I got this meeting with this Sundance director. She's with Sundance Labs. I got to take this. I don't have time for this, but thank you. He goes, okay. The next day, he's like, let's just grab lunch. So I pick him up. He goes, you know what? Let's stop by and meet the director at least. We're going to grab lunch. And I was like, all right, whatever. I get there. Can't even make this up. We're at St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank. And they have this ICU ward completely decked out for filming for this kid who's on stage 4 adrenal gland cancer. And they're making a film, a horror film, because that's his favorite genre. I get there, right in front of me, like where you are, is Johnny Depp, Laura Dern, J.K. Simmons. And I'm going, what? Now, I already said no. The casting director comes around the corner. He knows me, and I know him because he was the first casting director I met when I moved to L.A. So I go up to him, and he goes, oh, aren't you should be a part of this. I'm like, I know I would, but I got this meeting. I can't, 2 months. Like, I've had this meeting with this lady. I've been waiting 2 months to meet this woman. He goes, it was the universe again. He goes, you should be free this weekend. And it was just like, figure it out. Figure it out, dude. So I go, okay. producer comes. I said, hey, I know Chad told you I'm unavailable, but if you need me or you could use me, I'm free. She goes, well, I appreciate that, but we don't need you anymore. I said, that's cool. I already said no. Respect. I'm leaving. Chad's like, all right, P, let's go. So I'm leaving. And the other producer stops me. She looks down at her call sheet, and she goes, you're working tomorrow. Go to wardrobe. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I go set. I have a trailer next to J.K. Simmons, right? I'm being directed by Sam Raimi. Penelope Ann Miller's there. Chad Coleman are there. And it's something I said no to. Yeah. And I'm not saying say no to things. It's just, if it's meant to be yours, it's going to happen. No one else will get it. No one else will get it. No one else can get it. And here I am. I got to work with all these A-list stars. I go to a premiere, and, Peter Farrelly just won for Green Book, but he edited this film. I know him. We've hung out at 2 festivals for the short I did for this. Do you understand? Like, it's unreal.
Yeah. And not the same level, but people have asked me, and I think you brought it up too, like, the podcast, like, why? Like, because I get to meet really great people that do really great things.
Yeah.
And you just want to feed off that energy.
Right.
Like, I don't know. We're about to hit 250 with this episode. In fact, by the time this episode hits, we've already surpassed 250 episodes on my show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Which is a feat for a lot of podcasts. It's
consistency.
7 years and through cancer. And,
amazing.
So I'm like, it's my baby.
Yeah.
And I get to sit down and hear stories like this.
Yeah.
And when people ask me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, because you need to listen to Pritesh's episode.
Yeah.
This is why I do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is why I do it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So, and that's just like, you just don't know what's going to happen.
You have no clue. But the thing with alignment is not knowing, but having faith that it's in your best interest. Mm-hmm. That's what most people struggle with. I still have my days as well. But I always make sure I'm doing the work, which for me is meditating, mantras. I do Kundalini yoga, which has changed my life. But that work, we think we have all these priorities. We think we have all these things that we have to do. And we recognize that most of it you don't have to do. You don't. You have 2 hours to meditate. You have an hour to meditate. Now, I know that sounds insane to most people, but think about how many things you think you have to do is stuff that you don't want to do, people you don't want to meet or talk to. And you do it anyway to gain some sort of external validation. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing? You don't need to meet this person if you don't want to. You don't need to go to this event if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of it. But so many of our actions are motivated for external validation, whether it's for work or my boss or my friend won't like me or I have to meet my boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it may be. All these preconceived notions that we have of what we have to do. And we recognize when those things are actually taking away from our well-being, you're not aligned, you're in a place of stress and pessimism, you're actually you're detracting your truth.
Yeah.
And then you're being a victim. Most people play the victim. So that's the thing for me. It's like if there's anything I want to help people with, is to empower themselves, because we live in a victim culture. Everyone is a victim. And to me, it's sad. I'm not even making fun of it. It's a place of being, and our society and the narrative pushes it because it keeps people low. It keeps you being an employee and feels like you have no power, right? And I would say empowered because that's internal. Power, people take it physically manifested. I'm not talking about that. But we live in a society where everyone's a victim. Everyone plays a victim, and society feeds it, right? You're a victim because of your race, you're a victim because of your sexual orientation, or your economic background, or where you grew up, or because you came from a broken family, or whatever your story is. But what I like to tell people is, like, we all have our boohoo story. I call it boohoo story. You have yours, I have mine. And we can compare and contrast, but mine is no worse than yours, and yours is no worse than mine, right? They're all valid. And when you take that away from someone, people are obsessed with their victim identity. Obsessed. And how many friends I've had tell me, well, yeah, you grew up as a rich kid in San Diego. You had it easy. How dare you tell me I had it ezy? I had different things that you can say are better or worse. You don't get to define that, what's easier and harder. I've had my own emotional struggles. You don't know what I went through, what certain situations in my life I faced. And so, like, I always tell people, you may not be responsible for your trauma, but you're responsible for how long it haunts you.
And that is so true.
That's the truth. And then when you do that, people don't know what to say. Because I'm used to saying, oh, my life sucks because my father left. My life sucks because I'm gay, or I'm black, or I'm an immigrant, or I grew up poor. I'm sorry that you went through that, but that doesn't exist anymore. So what's happening? What are you doing? You know, and we live society is like, oh, we need more opportunities. I ask people this all the time. If you say that, fine. I'm all about people getting more opportunities. But how many opportunities are available to you right now that you haven't taken advantage of? Because I guarantee there's tons. Do you know how many grants in college go unused? Hundreds of millions of dollars because people don't fill out a freaking form? And you're trying to tell me you want more opportunities?
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
People, opportunity doesn't knock at your door. You have to go out there
and find it. And they're everywhere. People are likely to help you. How many times have you asked? You could get another job, but you're not willing to quit the one you don't like. Right? You want this perfect relationship, but that doesn't exist because you ain't perfect and you're not even in your truth, and you ain't willing to get out of the relationship you're not happy in. Like, what are you doing? You take zero accountability for your life.
I held on to that for a long time. Then I got sober.
Yeah.
And my first sponsor, everything I brought up to him as to why I was an alcoholic. Oh, I'm Hispanic, and in my culture, he's like, you were an alcoholic before you were, he would call me a spick. I was like, you were an alcoholic before you were a spick.
Yeah.
Beaner has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. It's like, take accountability.
And then I would bring up my sexuality. It's like, you were sucking dick and that has nothing to do.
Exactly.
And my health status, or he was like, just own up to who you are and you can move forward. And finally I did.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to California, I moved here with a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
We were together. We moved in January. We separated in March. We broke up in June.
Damn.
He went back to Houston and he was like, if you want, I'll pay for us to move back and we'll split up over there. And I was like, no, like I want to be an actor. You brought me to California. Like, again, a spiritual green light.
Yeah.
Like, here I am. Like,
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, what I want to do. I'm like, I may not have friends. I don't have much money, and I'm an hour away from LA. But if I want this to happen, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. And I finally had to break out of that. Oh, when I got cancer is when I broke out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because right before cancer, I was in line to co-direct a trilogy.
Okay.
I was doing promotional work. I was going to go on tour all through the East Coast with this brand, and I was going to start another project. Well, I get cancer.
Oh, yeah, shit.
And I had to, again, crying.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
I felt bad that I couldn't, not for me.
Yeah.
I felt bad that I couldn't be there for them. And my boyfriend was like, you have cancer? I'm like, yes, but they were counting on me.
Yeah.
To be part of this. We'll turn around and then the universe just kind of opens more doors. And I got great hair out of the cancer, so I can,
Hey, handle it.
you know.
Positive. Well, I think it comes down to your story is your story. It's not who you are.
Right.
I know a girl who was raped when she was 16 years old, and I think from an objective place, we can all agree that's a horrendous thing to happen to anybody.
Right.
At 35, she's been doing her healing modalities. I remember her coming out of a session, and she kind of just looked at me and goes, I'm healed. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I was raped. And that's my story. It's not who I am. I'm fine. Took her almost 20 years to let it go. Because the reality is something can happen to you, but your memory is yours, right? And how you relive it is on you too. So you could be reliving in your body, and every cell in your body could be acting and feeling as if it's happening right now. So she was raped once, but she's been raped every single day for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? And that's on her. And the fact that she was empowered. And I think when we talk about healing, people have this misconception that healing means forgetting what happened. No, healing means losing the emotional attachment you have to the event. Right? It doesn't mean it didn't exist or it didn't happen. It just means you can speak about it, you can recognize it, you can go, okay, fine. It doesn't own you. You own it.
It becomes a fact, not a feeling.
Exactly. And the thing is, when it doesn't own you, then you can actually move forward. You can inspire and help people.
Right.
And because it's coming from that place. But when it owns you, you become a victim of it. And that's how you see people living life. And to me, it makes me quite sad. And I'm guilty of it because I lived like this abandoned man for so long that I didn't even know I was living. And I realized when I was dating women, I was projecting onto them that feeling I had with my mother as a child, where it's like, you're close to me as a woman, you're going to leave me. You're going to hurt me just like my mom did. She left me stranded. And that was my mom's intentions, but that's how I felt. I know that's not what she intended. But as a young child, I felt So when I was in relationships, I would be kind of controlling. Not in like I'll beat her away, but I would just be like, if I call you, I need to call back. I need to know, like I needed to just have some form of control because I would be insecure in it. And it wasn't until last year, to be honest, where I completely cut that cord and let it go. It took a long time for me. But I did it. I recognized it. I had awareness and I did all the work to go, okay, this is where it stemmed from. It stemmed from me not even being 1 year old, right? So you have most adults are living their childhood, unfortunately. And most of us have been raised by unhealed parents who projected their insecurities and stuff onto us. And then it was the narrative in society and the media has mirrored it.
It's all this inherited baggage that we have.
So much of it. And I'm empathetic to that. What I'm not empathetic is people who live their whole lives using that as a crutch.
My healing because I had anal cancer. And although I made jokes about it.
It's a traumatic thing to go through, yeah.
I was diagnosed with, and this is how funny my life can be, I was diagnosed with cancer on Cinco de Mayo. So that's how Mexican I am. And then I finished my treatment on 4th of July.
That's how American you got.
That's how American I am. So I'm really Mexican-American.
Yeah.
Just put it out there. But now they have a parade for me on 4th of July.
Yeah. You're the only reason the wall hasn't been built yet.
Yeah.
You're our bridge to Mexico, bro. What's going on, dog? You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It's okay. Don't worry.
But
I like it.
The comedy class that I took, Hello Cool Beans comedy. The comedy class that I took, what I was working on for our showcase was my first colorectal doctor visit. So my stand-up, half of my set is about going to Dr. Rad.
That was his name?
Dr. Bobby Rad, and he is hot.
You can't even make that shit up.
You can't make it up. No.
Dr. Rad had his fingers up your ass.
Yes. Dr. Rad it's 3 times, more than 3 times. So we're basically dating.
Yeah.
And he's Middle Eastern, so I'm hooked.
Yeah.
But half of
You're
my
welcome.
set, wait till I show you the picture. Half of my set is talking about going to the doctor and having his fingers up my butt and making jokes about it. And there was a mixed emotions, like, do I really want to joke about this or not? Like, get it? But just the story in itself is kind of funny.
That is hilarious.
And that's what brought me into stand-up comedy. That was my initiation into stand-up.
Well, I mean, the thing is, as well for me, comedy comes from pain. It's a way to deal with circumstances in your life, right? So for me, it was like that confusion of being a first generation Indian American, the clash of cultures when I go to school, when I'm raised Hindu, but in a Christian world, thing. And, being vegetarian in a meat eating world when I was a kid, of course, and it's just a clash and it's hilarious. It's so funny. But that's where I dealt with all of that confusion through comedy. And of course, all my abandonment issues, my vulnerability issues were all masked by comedy. So that's what it was on stage. And now it's definitely changed where I just lash out on people because people piss me off because of their victim stuff, right? But it's comedic, but it is ridiculous to me when I hear this stuff, any movement, right? Like, I think for me now, it's more of like, what are you doing to empower yourself to be a good version for you, then your family, your kids, and hopefully your community at large. Yeah. But we live in a generation now where you have unhealed people who play the victim, who skip all that work, and then all of a sudden want to be a social media star or something, and I just want to be a voice. Voice, Mitch? You don't even know your own damn voice. What the hell are you going to speak for other people? You don't even know who the hell you are. And now you want to be a voice for people?
And I don't think I'm so glad that you understand this part of life. It's the energy that you put out it's going to come back to you. Because we talked about this.
The world's a mirror. Yeah, it really is. What pisses you off is what's wrong with you.
Yeah, we talked about doing readings for people, and I have clients that come in and I read for them. The most typical things are work and relationships. What's my professional life, and will I be in a relationship? And at the points I have to talk to them, I'm like, people are not attracted to you because you're short or because you're not blonde enough or you don't have the great body. People are not attracted to you because you're being a bitch about life. Like, stop being a bitch.
There's zero. I do a joke on that. I said, actually, true. I have a friend who's she always thinks that she doesn't get a promotion at work because she's a female. She plays the I'm a girl, I'm a victim card all day, right? Yeah. And I told her, I said, no, you don't get a promotion because you're a bitch. You ever thought about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. You could be a white, blue-eyed male and you'd still not, because you're not nice to be around.
Yeah.
and you take zero accountability for your life. And so that's why people don't like you, right? Most of it's all BS, man. Even with racism. I'm not saying everything exists. So when people say, oh, you think racism doesn't exist? That would be stupid to say. Everything exists. Everything exists and doesn't exist at the same time. All right? So that's not even a conversation to be had. But the reason is a lot of it's your perception. And when you want to believe in something, you're going to look for the world to validate it. My mom would go to the store when I was a kid, and my mom would always love going to this particular store when we lived in Oregon. I forgot the name. And she would always talk about how incredible the customer service was. My mom would go, every time I go to the store, they always ask me if I need help. They're always the first to answer any of my questions. There's always someone around to help you. I love going to the store. Our family friend, she would go to the same store, and she would come back to us and tell us, this store's so racist. It's because I'm brown. They always want to ask me questions, make sure I don't steal anything. They're always around watching. Same experience, different realizations. Yeah. And that's how life is. If you ask me, I've rarely encountered racism in my life. Maybe 5 times I can count, which was like vivid. Like I was filming an episode of Grimm in Portland. Some homeless guy said, go back to your country. I mean, okay, that's like blatant. But it's like, whatever. He's just probably high on drugs, like whatever, right? But those type of are so few and far between. Because when you start connecting with people beyond what they look like, naturally that's how the world reflects on you. Yeah. Right?
I've used the same thing. Like I don't walk into a store or a restaurant expecting to be belittled for any reason. I expect to get the service I need.
And you do. And you do.
Yeah. And people are like, well, I went to that store, and they were like, I'm like, well.
Because you're always playing your race card, bro. Yeah. You're always playing the victim. And the thing is, you're getting back what you are. Like people complain about LA all the time, living in the city. I'm sure you hear it all the time. Everyone in LA is an asshole. In my head, I'm like, because you're an asshole. You ever thought about that? Because I've met the most amazing, grateful, incredible human beings in that city who have helped me tremendously in LA, who have gotten me and held my hand to get to where I am right now. Like I have so many amazing humans I've met here who have been incredibly kind, guided me, helped me to get to where I am. And that's my LA experience. Yeah. So what's your excuse?
Now, mind you, drivers, if you ever come to LA, drivers are always...
you better learn how to drive well. I'll be honest with you on that.
This is why I got a dash cam.
That's a good idea, actually.
Everybody else is stupid except for me.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
So we're at 45 minutes now.
Damn.
I know.
I can talk a long time, man.
This is a part of the show where I ask my guests to share some words of wisdom with the listeners. So, Pritesh, what words of wisdom do you have?
I mean, I guess it goes in line with what I've been saying this whole time. Do the work, heal, look in the mirror, because that's where your problems are. They're not out there. They're at the person in the mirror, and the world sees in you what you see in yourself. So I would say take accountability. You're not a victim, and what you put out is what you get back. And if you start living life that way, you're gonna have a big smile on your face, because amazing things will happen. You'll feel a lot more aligned. Great things will happen to you, and you'll be open, and you won't feel like a victim because you're not.
Yeah, I'm going to say this at this point before I ask the next questions. This is so much different than the conversation. I don't live by expectations, but I kind of prep myself for interviews. Like, okay, which way will this go?
Yeah.
This did not go any way in the direction that I expected, which is one of the things that I love about my life, is that I wake up every day with a level of expectations so that I can be surprised when things don't go my way.
Right.
Not disappointed, but surprised. I'm like, wow, this went a whole lot better than I expected. That is awesome.
I know.
But this conversation went better than I thought. I really, in my thought, I was like, he's going to be a dick. It's going to be so hard to get him to like...
Clearly you think I'm a dick a lot.
It's going to be hard to get him to talk, but I'm going to do my best. Or we're going to go like this whole acting conversation. I'm like, okay, that's not really...
That's all a side thing. I don't really... Like, all this stuff is just a gift God gave me, which I'm very thankful for and I enjoy a lot. But it's just my way to garner the attention I need to really help the people I want to. And it's like, it's fun. It's cool. But it's not my end story, you know?
Well, I'm glad I had this judgment of you.
Thanks for being a dick. I appreciate that.
You knocked me down. Because now I feel like I'm the dick.
Now I'm going to be ignorant and say all Mexicans are like you, and they all think I'm an asshole. Now we should build a wall. Because I'm going to play the victim. You see how most society works? Take one generalization and then impose it on everyone else and blame the society.
Every interview that you get asked for, you're going to base them on this interaction.
Yeah, are you Mexican? Yeah, fuck off.
No,
okay. But yeah, I mean, that would be the only thing I say. I think a lot of people say that. I remember I dated this girl once a long time ago, and she goes, man, I just want to knock you off my bucket list. I just thought you were going to be this comedian and that I could just, have some fun with, but I didn't know you wouldn't be a douche.
Yeah. And I like the fact, I'm enjoying the fact that you're like this really good balance of reality and spirituality. Like actual and
well, because you can function within it. I think it's important to be grounded too. If you want, look, you can live however the hell you want to live. And some people are really head in the clouds and the people are doing work, but they can't, where are you going to take all that? Here. Because if you can't function, your feet don't touch the ground. Yeah, that's great. If that's for you and you just want to live in the woods or you want to just meditate all day 24/7, then that's awesome. If that's your life path. That's not for me. I still have physical earthly work to do. Right? So I take that, but I can still function within society. I'm just not of it. I can function within it. I'm definitely not of it. I'm definitely not of it.
Because in my hats that I wear, I go from my spiritual work to my advocacy work to acting and everything within the industry, which is this.
Yeah.
So there's 3 paths that I go on, and I have to, or I don't have to. I've learned to combine all 3 to make them work together. Because I can still be within the industry using my spiritual gifts and do some advocacy work. Because people learn about the health issues that I've been through.
Well, I think it's awesome what you do, man, because I know you fit a niche. So certain people, I think one thing that's important is that you can connect with people that are not Mexican, not gay, nothing, right? Because we connect as people.
Right.
But beyond that, since God did give you this physical mask, in human form, it's cool that you're being so honest with your story. I think that's the key thing, is just pure honesty and accountability.
One thing
and a lot of people are missing that.
Yeah. One thing that I learned from watching other interviewers is that if I don't give you a little bit of me, how will you trust me to give you a little bit of you?
But see, that goes into what we just said. How can you get something if you're not willing to give?
Yeah.
Right? The universe will only give what you're willing to put out. If you're willing to put out and be free and completely honest, you will get back magic. You will get back magic.
If you ask
bro.
my friends in high school, I definitely learned to put out.
Yeah, I know. They could tell.
Yeah.
They're all on Planned Parenthood right now getting checked.
That's how I graduated. So
exactly.
Top of my class.
Yeah, handle it. Hey. But yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. It's like, you'll feel so aligned and you'll start foreshadowing your own life.
Yeah.
I know that's getting really deep, but you do any of the work, you start foreseeing things come. Like I have a dog here, that's my baby. And it was probably like 2 months before I got her permanently about a month ago, but I raised her with my roommates when I first moved here, but my buddy bought a house and he kept her. So I was a permanent dog sitter. Because I raised her as a baby and she was always with me. But I had a feeling about 2 months ago in a meditation, I was like, she's meant to be mine. Like, she's asking for me to take care of her. And literally 2 months ago, he's like, dude, we think it's time for her to move on. We have a baby now. It's hard to keep her. Like, cool. And I already knew.
Yeah.
So you start seeing, so then there comes a point where not only are you surprised, you smile because you knew. You don't need to know exactly when, but I smile like I knew that was going to happen. Yeah. And it's an awesome, awesome feeling because you feel so empowered in your life.
That's a good message for all of you listening and or watching. Just a suggestion, get out of your anger, get out of your, as Pritesh was saying, get out of your victimhood and step into, let the world just give you, let the world just open doors, let the universe guide you, and you will see the difference.
It is.
Light.
It is. Perception is reality. And I think we've been told that since we're kids. And unfortunately, the way our minds work, our logic mind works, is we have to prove it to ourselves. We don't want to take it for what it's worth. That's okay. That's the human experience. But, it is absolutely true. Your perception is 100% your reality. And it has nothing to do with your money, your career, or your partnerships. If you're not happy, nothing in the world will complete you. Your soulmate is not a completion of you. It's an addition to you. Okay? And your soulmate's not just a romantic partner. My sister is my soulmate. So are my parents. So are some of my closest friends and people I meet. They're all soulmates. They're my dog. I mean, there's a reason we share this home and this experience together right now. It's a soulmate. And a romantic soulmate can be a part of it, but you have a lot of people who don't do the work, who use very spiritual terms and I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, they use soulmate, they have no clue what they're talking about. They use going with the flow, they have no idea what they're talking about. And they take it out of context. I mean, these are deeply spiritual terms that are taken completely out of context. Go with the flow is actually the energy of the universe. Not having a girlfriend and then cheating on her and saying, I'm just going with the flow. That's not going with the flow,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
My buddy actually said that to me. I'm like, what do you, I think you're very confused about that message, buddy. Right? Exactly. Exactly. And or people out there like, I'm just searching for my soulmate, or, you know, and guy friends and girlfriends say that all the time. And this idea, they're not, soulmate isn't the thing I'm making fun of them for. They're searching for completion, and no one can complete you.
Yeah.
And they act like they're not a complete being because they don't have someone else. You can go through life. You came in alone, you leave in alone. It's not sad, it's poetic, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So people come in and out of your life, and it's not sad. You're not a failure because your relationship ended or you're no longer friends with someone. That's the journey. You're on your own. And you cross paths with someone, and it might be for a minute, a month, years, or a lifetime, and none of it's better than the other.
When my partner, when Christian and I met, one of the things that we immediately we knew there was going to be a connection is I was very stuck in my independence. Like, I wanted to find I was going to be an actor, and I was going to be a director, and a great podcast host, and I was like, I don't need anybody to complete me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already happy.
Yeah.
But I was using it in the wrong way, and this
using it to avoid being
totally,
vulnerable.
Totally. I wanted to be a hoe when I met him. I just wanted for sex.
Yeah.
And he was like, sure, whatever you say. But he was very in that spot too. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm 40. I was 42 when I met him. Like, I'm already in a good place. I don't want you to complete me. I want you to be part of the journey.
Exactly.
And then I was like, how dare you use my words against me? But then I realized, like, wow, this is exactly the kind of partner that I need. So
yeah, well, if you look at it, think about how many people you know that have. I always tell people that the illusion will carry you far. It can, up to a point.
Yeah.
The illusion can take you far. For example, I always tell people that materialism is a mindset, not necessarily what you have. Some of the poorest people I know are the most materialistic because they have an idea in their head that when they get the Ferrari or they get the Nike Jordans or whatever it may be, that they're going to be happy.
Yep.
So it's a mindset. And the reality is that illusion can carry everyone far. I have friends that are very successful now, have the mansion, have the cars, get all the girls they want because they're famous now, and they're freaking miserable.
Yep.
And the saddest thing is the illusion will take you that far, and it can even get you material success, and a lot of times it will. But that thing is, once you have it, it's the emptiest feeling on earth because it fills nothing. And now you go, the illusion, this is gone. You have it all that you thought you needed. And then you get very confused. You go, wait, I have all the things I thought I needed to make me happy. I have all of it and some, and I'm more miserable than I've ever had been. Now what is it?
Right.
So then people, you see, unfortunately, suicide, or even before that, that's the drastic version of it, but you see a lot of drug abuse. You see a lot of whatever abuse to the body, however it may be, or we like to call them sex addicts, whatever, some sort of addiction, right? Because you need a distraction from your life. There's no peace in it. And if you get all that taken care of before any of that stuff happens, you'll do very well. Because like Oprah said it best, you can have the world. If you're not happy with what you have now, you can have the world and you'll still be unhappy. It's all a freaking mindset. No one wants to believe it.
Yeah.
Someone's going to listen right now and be like, no, that's bullshit. When I make $1 million a year, I'm going to be so much happier. And it won't be. I'm sorry. You just be unhappy in a nicer car and a nicer house. The happiness will be at the same level.
That's why I tell God, like, I've already been poor. I've already been an addict. I've already had, like, most sicknesses. Can I have the money now?
God, you are a complete fuck up.
Yeah,
Jesus,
no,
like, what have you done?
There's a lot of duct tape right now.
Jeez.
I just,
He's really screwed
I
up.
just look good on the outside. On the inside, my body's going,
Yeah, what the fuck?
Shoot me.
Yeah, straight up. You got Elmer's glue in your organs and shit.
I
Yeah,
drink
man.
it in the morning with
I'm
my
sure.
coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure I get home.
It shows. Shit.
Okay, 2 more questions.
Go for it.
Because we're almost at the hour. But in the book of Pritesh Shah, what is the first sentence?
Yeah, I know the title.
Okay.
Who raised you?
Hmm.
The first sentence. Ah, man, that's a good question. The first sentence would probably be that as well.
Yeah.
Who raised you?
I like
Don't
that.
be a little bitch. How about that? How about that?
Be a little bit.
Honestly, to be honest, you're your biggest problem.
Excuse me.
You are your biggest problem. That was my first sentence, because you are. Every problem you have in life is your fault. Because even if the problem came into your life and it wasn't your fault, The way you remember it and the way you used your memory for it is your fault.
If you could name this episode, what would you name it?
Who raised you? Name it that. I hope you do. Because that's the hashtag I use for everything.
Really?
I'm kind of known for that. Yeah. It's literally my hashtag for every post I make is who raised you.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But if I ever see you out in the street somewhere, I'm gonna yell out to you like, "Don't be a little bitch."
And I'll be like, "Fuck you! I will. I'm sad."
That'll be our own Instagram.
Yeah.
Don't be such a dick.
Don't be such a dick.
Yeah, like, he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I interviewed him once. I don't know how I want this question. Do you feel at peace now?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty present right now with you. I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing after. I feel good. Most plans I've made in life have not happened or gone accordingly because if I make spiritual plans, they go according to plan. That's getting real deep. But most plans are ego-based, right? So it's usually coming from a place of fear or control. It's the same. I need to do this. I need to get married by this age and have kids like this. I'm going to do this for my parents. Like, it's crazy how many people get married just simply because they're afraid their grandparents are going to die soon. To me, what?
Yeah.
You're forcing a life decision that is so deeply impactful on your own well-being. That's a very physical thing. I mean, that's, attachment.
Yeah. That happens a lot in like military situations.
Yeah.
People going up.
But but most people making most decisions in life, I ask, where is those decisions coming from? Question all of it. Because you don't owe anyone anything. I tell my parents all the time, I don't owe my parents anything. I owe them zero things. I do for them because I love them, not out of obligation. How many things in life do you do that are obligatory?
Yeah.
Because those things are guilt-based.
Yeah.
Right? So I do for things that I try to remind myself that. I think it's really important, and that will keep you more at peace. When you start doing a lot of behavior that isn't your truth, you start getting very anxious, resentful, angry, all the things that come up. And that's away from peace. So I don't go to a birthday party simply because someone came to my birthday party.
So I was about to bring up that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So people are doing something else. I don't like birthday parties. I don't like large groups of people. Yeah. So if you come to my little party, that's amazing, and I might take you to lunch separately. I don't do things for you simply you did it for me, just like I don't expect it in return. Like, just do things genuinely, and things will come back to you tenfold, okay? They may not even come back from that person or that situation. It doesn't matter. There's certain people in my life that I give more to. I don't even look at it that way, but as an example, I'm saying there's some people in life I receive more from.
Yeah.
And I feel very much at peace that's going with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had friends who, I don't drink. So
I really don't either.
If you're going to throw a party at a bar,
no bueno.
That's not really my thing.
Dude, I can't stand it.
Yeah, I don't want to go. And if I go, I'll go early, hang out for a little bit, have a bite, and go home. I'm not going to stay there for all the drunk people because I don't want to.
I went yesterday to a bar. I had one Jack and Diet, and I was there from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Mm. That's it. Yeah. Like I'll go once in a while, socialize, small group of people, not the outside. Because to me, what happens at bars? It's a weird societal thing, man. It's like I have to be in a non-sober state to do a very natural act or to go about a natural act. And you have a lot of women in society who feel guilty about their sexuality. So then you get drunk in order to have sex without feeling guilty or feeling like a hoe. And then you have men who are so anxious about actually talking to a woman that they don't even know how to converse with a woman who's sober to go about it. So it's like I need to be in a delirious situation or state of mind, and I need the woman to be as well. Yeah. And it's, to me, that's all I see, and it's quite sad. So if that's all I see around it, and then of course not everyone's like that, but a lot of it is, it's hard for me to be around, man. I just think it's freaking funny.
Yeah. I tell my friends, I'll be there for a little bit, I'll go home. If you want, we can go to dinner, and I will treat you to a nice dinner between both of us. I don't mind being there for my friends for the important things. Like, hey, you have an emergency, you're in the hospital, you're having a baby, let's go, let's do this. You're mad because I didn't go to your birthday at a bar. Then
no, what's the point? That was just to show face. It's so loud and you have so many people there, we're not going to get real, it's just going to be superficial conversations with people I don't know.
And I always tell them, like, you want me to be uncomfortable to make you happy.
Exactly.
I'm like, think about that.
But most people do because that's how you show them that you care.
Yes.
And see, if you live life where you need other people to show that they care about you all the time, you're very insecure.
I've lost a lot of friends because of that.
Yeah, you do. It's just like, I'm good.
Okay.
Love you, wish you the best, but that's fine.
I always feel like Pete Davidson in his SNL skits, like, okay.
That's how I am too. You know, I've ended a lot of relationships because I feel like they weren't helping my well-being.
Yeah.
You know, either people projecting their insecurities or the anger towards me, and it's like, well, no, I will not be that punching bag. I have been a lot of my life because I was a people pleaser, and I'm good. So I love you, but either it's an email, I just let you know naturally, like, we're good. Do your thing. I'm doing my thing. If we're meant to be friends later on, our paths will join and it'll work. And if it doesn't, I wish you the best and we don't need to hang out.
I'll go get tacos.
Like, that's pretty much how I feel about you after this interview. Yeah, like, don't ever contact me again.
I was done with this like 20 minutes ago.
I'm fine. I can talk a lot. You're welcome.
I was like, keeps talking.
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want, dog? What do you want? Yeah.
So we've gone past the hour. Just
good. They're lucky.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Who raised you?
You're actually really interested to talk to. So I'm like, we can talk so much more.
Yeah.
But for those of you listening, we've been talking to Pritesh Shah. I have a new series that I just started, and it's called Putting Together Conversations.
Yeah.
And it's where I have I've already had one guest, life coach Tommy, who's a friend of mine from Houston, and we actually just talk about life.
I would love to do that.
Things better for your life.
Yeah.
And I think you would be an excellent co-host.
I would love to do that.
For those of you listening, Putting Together Conversations will continue. Life coach Tommy will be back on the show. Chris Shah will be back on the show. He's also a life coach. And now I've got Pritesh to be on the show. And I think we could talk about some spiritual stuff.
I would love to. I'd love to. A lot of the work I've done, yeah.
For those of you listening, those are Facebook Live conversations, so you can actually join the conversation. So while we're on live, you can send in your questions, and we'll get Pritesh to answer some of those questions for us while I do the hosting and the comedy relief there.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a good balance to have somebody who, like, knows their shit.
Yeah.
And then just kind of bounce it out.
Have fun.
But we will, I'm going to put you on this list.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I really, in all honesty, and yes, people know this because I say that all the time on the show, I do come in with a certain level of expectation based on what I know. Because once you say, yes, I'll be on your show, I stop following you. I stop researching. Like, everything from that point on, I wanted to be a surprise. Fresh. So that the people and I are all following your story.
But see, that's the other thing. I mean, not to interrupt you, but that's the other thing I want people to understand is that when we get so caught up with identities, we play them. You know, like the Sadhguru, who's amazing, he always says, when you take on an identity, use your intellect to protect it. And that's what people do. And so, like, I see people do that about me all the time. I'm a comedian, or I'm a model, or I'm an asshole, I'm this, whatever label you want to give me, right? The thing is, like, so it's funny that you say that because it's like, yeah, I know I can be hilarious. I also do, most of the work I've done on TV has all been dramatic acting. I'm a goofball. I'm a nerd because I love science. I love any of the spiritual modalities. I study astrology. I do all of that. And, Kundalini yoga is incredible. And then I like having real conversations like this. And most people are full-fledged life. You know, that's how life's supposed to be. It's like, what interests you? To me, everything interests me. I'm more passionate about certain things than others, but I'm interested about tons of things. And fuck my identity. I don't know what you mean when you say I'm Indian or a man or any of this shit. It's all labels you put on me, man.
You're Indian?
No, I'm Mexican. I told you that. Don't worry about it. But you know what I'm saying? So if I got so caught up with being Indian, then I'd have to I'd live my life trying to prove it to myself and others around me that I'm Indian or a man. You know, when I moved to Hollywood 9-10 years ago, I used to tell people, I'm going to show Hollywood what it is an Indian man can do. I don't know what that means anymore. Like, I can relate to a 7-year-old white girl in Kansas because we're both humans and we both have dreams and things that have hurt us and things. Like, we're just humans that are connecting here. So, fuck the identities, man.
Like I said I think I said in the beginning, the day we saw you at the show, there was our friend Maddie, who's Latina, Christian, my boyfriend, who's half Puerto Rican, half Hawaiian, and then me, Latino man, gay, and the three of us like completely understood your jokes.
Yeah.
Like we were looking at each other like, oh my God, that's us.
Yeah, exactly.
And so at that moment I was like, I want him on my show. Like, that's it. Like,
I appreciate it. I'm glad that's the point of it though, is like through comedy you can connect with everyone and anyone. Because I have all types of people, all different, come up to me. Right? Because when you allow yourself to connect, you will. If you don't, you'll connect with very few people and you won't have a very passionate life, unfortunately. And that's on you.
And then kudos to Christian too, who was like, you need to have him on your show.
Well, I appreciate that.
Get him on your show. He's funny. And I was like,
yeah.
And I told you, he didn't know that we already talked.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, hon? You're totally right.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach him out. I know he's really busy, so I don't know if it's going to work out. And meanwhile, you and I are texting like, yeah, we'll do this.
Well, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, we're at the end. Any last word? Any last messages?
No, that's about it, man. They can, if you want, you can find me at the Pritesh Shah on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything.
And as you guys know, as usual, once the show airs, I will post his links and connections on there so you guys can find him.
Sweet.
If you have not seen his stand-up, there is a little snippet.
There's a snippet from that show. I'll have more up.
Yeah.
I don't put up that much stuff, but there's stuff on YouTube as well. But there'll be more clips up on my Facebook fan page as well and Instagram because I'm doing a lot more stand-up now. I was doing it a lot before, obviously, but then I got really busy with acting and producing, so took a little break from that. But I'm back on it.
So go check him out. He is really funny.
Thank you.
He's not just a pretty face. But it helps.
Yeah, try.
I lost my train of thought.
It happens, don't worry.
I don't stop with much off in the day, so usually by this time I'm like,
I'm good.
I just think tacos. And
yeah, exactly.
Pritesh, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
I had a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
For those of you listening, we've been with Pritesh Shah, actor, comedian,
producer, host, enigma, man, lover of knowledge, abundance, connection, love.
Any more?
No, that's about it. Any more identities from me? I'm good.
Thank you to our producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for his help and support. Thank you, sir. Go check us out. We're at normalentertainment.com. We can find all the shows on the network. Check me out at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We can find everything that's going on. This you can find on Put It Together Podcast on Facebook. Check out the workshops, Better You workshops on Facebook. Just put that in there. Better You workshops. Those are the spiritual workshops that we're working on. We've been on a little hiatus for a little bit, just some family things that happened, but we're coming back with more episodes. And remember, those are live also, so stay tuned for postings and announcements so you can be part of the show as it goes. And then put together conversations. Lots going on at Little Mexico Productions, so stay tuned. You can also follow us on Facebook on that. So for now, I want to thank Pritesh for being on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, all of you, for listening. And this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
Peace.
This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.